President Biden has a lot on his plate right now, from raging inflation, Cold War with Russia, plunging poll numbers, and a ton of other headaches. Now new questions over whether he is buckling under the enormous weight of multiple crises. The president's frustrations boiling to the surface as he is caught on a hot mic cursing at our Peter Doocy, and it's not the first time the president has lashed out.
Do you think that that might incentivize more people to come over illegally?
If you guys keep sending that garbage out, yeah.
Why are you so confident he'll change his behavior, Mr. President?
Yeah, I'm not confident changing behavior. What do you do all the time?
Mr. President, can I ask you a quick question on Israel before you drive away?
No, you can't.
Why are you waiting on Putin to make the first move, sir?
Do you think inflation is a political liability?
That's a great asset. More inflation. What a stupid son of a...
The president calling Peter to, quote, clear the air after that encounter. The press secretary, Jen Psaki, addressing the outburst earlier.
Does the president regret saying what he said about Peter?
Peter spoke to this. The president called him. He conveyed to him that it was nothing personal, man, and also acknowledged that all of you are going to ask him a range of questions. So I think that speaks for itself.
You know, Greg, on Hannity last night, actually several weeks ago is where it originated. I called Dan Bongino a son of a bitch, and no one even got mad at me.
Yeah, well, then we expect that from you, Geraldo. You know, you did make a mistake, though. You referred to him as our Peter Doocy. It's our very own Peter Doocy. Yeah. Remember, it's weird that we don't say that about anybody else at the network, but we always have to say our very own Peter Doocy. But Biden was right. It was a dumb question. Will inflation hurt your chances in the middle? Of course it will. So actually, Biden was correct. It was a dumb question. But that's the best part about Fox News. We aren't CNN. We aren't wetting our shorts and calling this, you know, an attack on democracy or an insurrection. Every time Acosta acted like a stone tool and got CNN's cavalcade of Karens, you know, fretted about the coming reign of terror. The fact that we find this hilarious and that we can make fun of Peter Doocy says everything about how much fun this network is. But if it were Jim Acosta, they'd have to change Anderson Cooper's sheets. Carl Bernstein would say it's worse than Watergate. And also, if you didn't mind Trump berating the press, you shouldn't mind now. I would prefer much more berating of the press and less real-world problems that you mentioned. All of those real-world problems that are under Biden, I will take that over insults to the press. I think we should be more obnoxious to the press. I do my best.
I really am very concerned about the real-world problem in Ukraine, but I don't want to be a bummer right now. Don't you, Dana, think that the hit on Biden about his senility, alleged senility, and losing his cognitive decline and all, isn't that a little much?
I mean, that's really not what this is about, really. And I don't say things.
You don't
like
think
that.
it's?
I don't say things like that about him. But I do think this. There was in the campaign when he was in the basement, there was this narrative that he was the nice older gentleman who likes ice cream.
Yeah.
And everything would return to normal or pre-COVID, right? Everything would be okay. And it turns out that he actually is just like us, and he's got an edge, and he is on a hot mic. He could get caught. We could get caught on a hot mic at any moment, so I'm a little bit sympathetic to that. But he also showed a lack of being able to be nimble, even if it is a dumb question. Mm-hmm. Take the opportunity and talk to the American people and say, I know inflation's a problem for you. I hear about it. I heard it from Marianne, who was there telling me about the hamburgers.
Our very own Marianne.
And that's why I have these people in here today, Peter, and that's what we're going to work on. I'm not too worried about the campaign, but I'm going to, just to be able to take an opportunity. The press is going to ask you whatever they ask you. Just always, just swing and try to hit it.
You rely so much on your mom. Your mom, about my age, probably a little younger than me in terms of her texts, guiding you morally and philosophically, even though you disagree. Now, don't you think that people are too quick to pull the trigger on senility and, all that? I mean, don't we older folks sometimes bring our wisdom that is very
I haven't
necessary?
seen any wisdom from Joe Biden.
None at all?
Geraldo. No, not a lot of wisdom. But here's what I think. To compare this to the Trump thing, the difference is that the media was calling Trump a racist Russian traitor and trying to get him impeached.
Right. Yeah.
Or that was
Our very own stupid son of a bitch just asked him about a policy question. He asked him policy. So, yes, like have a little more discipline. I think it's fair, as Dana said, to say, is everything okay? Because this is not something that normal people do. He's lost control of the presidency. He's obviously missed the last 2 waves. He's missed inflation. He missed Russia. He misjudged Manchin. So he's feeling shaky and he's feeling cornered. And like you said, you got Russia testing him. You got the Fed has to make a move soon. Oil's going to go up over $100 a barrel probably. The guy sees the writing on the wall. They give him polling, Geraldo. Today they give him polling, last 3 polls, 40, 39, 40 approval
about
rating.
the same as Trump.
Not good, Geraldo, not good. The guy needs a bourbon. That's what I would recommend.
Well, I volunteer to help him out there. So you saw that press conference, right, Judge?
Biden doesn't drink.
2 hours on his feet. A lot of the questions were just as snotty as you can be.
You know, Geraldo, I've listened to
But he
all the
answered.
questions. No, I've listened to all the questions you've asked these 3.
And yours are
you're
too hard?
trying to draw, no, not at all. You're trying to draw a distinction between age and competence. There's a total difference between you're older, and someone like Joe Biden. He is losing it. I'm not going to be.
He's much older than I am.
Well, good. I'm glad
8
to hear
months.
that. 8 months? Okay. But that's where you're going with your question. You are together. You are focused. I don't agree with most of the stuff you say, but I still love you, okay? Joe Biden is incapable.
We're like an old prom couple.
Yeah, that's my line, the old prom couple. But Joe Biden is incapable of handling all the pressure. And we see it all the time. He's turning into like a curmudgeon, like someone who is angry all the time. Don't ask me about inflation. And don't ask me about a topic that I don't want to talk about today because I can't cover 2 subjects at once. And you're a son of a bee for asking me that.
But go back to Greg's point. He said that it was a stupid question.
But that's his.
No such thing as a stupid question, Geraldo.
But here's the bottom line. He wanted an answer from Joe Biden. Joe Biden couldn't be nimble, like Dana suggested. He couldn't address it because he was only focused on that one thing. And I have to give credit to Dana. If you recall, when this broke yesterday, who was the first person who said, if I were talking to the president, I would say, you got to pick up the phone, you got to call our very own Peter Doocy, and just make things right. And that's exactly
I do think that was a pretty. I think that I'm sure that Jen Psaki, that was probably her first thought.
I want to say
Our
one
very
more
own
thing.
Dana Perino.
And our very own Peter Doocy was a class act because he went right past it and he treated it like it was nothing. He's a class act.
He's our very own Peter Doocy.
So would you ever say our very own Geraldo?
Yes, we can now.
Oh, say it.
Our very own Geraldo.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.